Social media is the future of communication. I've been talking to financial professionals for years about social media, and there's a lot of resistance to it. And let's be straightforward, not just among financial professionals, but among many people, it's so new. We look at platforms like LinkedIn or Facebook, they're 10 years old, right? This is really a revolution in how we communicate. But the reason that financial professionals need to pay attention to this is because this is the future. This is how we're going to communicate. Not only the current generations, but as young people get older and really enter the job force, enter the economy, this is how they're expecting to communicate. We're not in a broadcast world anymore. We take it back 20, 30 years. How do we get our information? We sat in front of a television, right? We didn't interact with it. We just watched the commercials, watched the programs, maybe we read the newspaper. Interaction was writing a letter to the editor. These days, people expect a conversation. They expect to be able to engage not only with their peers, but with companies, with everybody. And I always tell people, if you don't like change, you'll like obsolescence even less, right? And this change is happening. We are trying to figure out. Social media said we're living through this. I think of me talking to my grandchildren. I'm going to be like, let me tell you how it was in the old days, and they're going to not believe a word I say. Right? They're going to have things like interactive movies, and they're not going to be able to imagine that I used to just watch a show for half an hour without saying anything or doing anything or influencing the plot. This change, though, is amazing. If you think about how we used to communicate with prospects, so let's take us right back to the sales process here. We'd have to go knock on a door. We'd have to pick up the phone and call, and we'd have to do an advertisement on television or the newspaper. We'd throw this information out at people hoping they would respond. Now we cultivate conversations. We have a dialogue with people, and that's why social media is so powerful. And if a financial professional plays the ostrich strategy and just puts their head in the ground and tries to ignore it, that's fine, but in 10 years, you won't have a business. That being said, it's a very overwhelming world right now because it's so new, it's changing, it's developing. There's new sites every day. I still think that the big social media site hasn't even been invented yet. I don't know what it is. If I did, I'd make a lot of money. But I still think it's coming. But when you look at what we have right now, the three big ones that people always ask about, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all of them are great for various purposes. For financial professionals, if they're just looking to get started, LinkedIn is the place to start. And the reason why is because this is where we've agreed to talk about business. Even if we connect with people in other spheres of our life, our friends, our family, I'm connected with my brother-in-law and my sister, on LinkedIn. We talk about business there. It's just understood that that's the context that we're in. And in fact, I've gotten business from my brother-in-law and I've given him business. On Facebook, yeah, that's where I have the pictures of my nephews, and I look at those, right? Facebook is great. There's 1 billion people on Facebook. 1 out of every 7 people in the world is on Facebook. It's amazing. Problem is you get that many people in the same place, it's always a race to the lowest common denominator. A lot of noise. It's hard to really use it for business. So if somebody's getting started, maybe not the best place or the easiest place. Twitter, kind of the same thing. Really, really powerful tool. I think it gets maligned a lot by people who understand it. But it has a very specific function. And it's well beyond the scope of what we're talking about to go into those functions. But I always tell people if they can't figure out why they'd use Twitter, you don't need it. Use all of these platforms, even LinkedIn, and we haven't talked about blogs or Google+. There's all these different channels that we have to communicate. What I always ask people is, what are you trying to accomplish? What is the problem that you're facing? You're trying to get more prospects, you're trying to interact with your clients, you're trying to develop a brand. Figure out which of those problems you're trying to fix, and then connect the platform to it. Don't just jump on social media because you heard it's cool or because your college kid told you you had to be on it. Always use them as ways to solve current and existing business problems. There's a few ways that you can use LinkedIn for business development in a really powerful way that actually we've never been able to do. The technology just wasn't there. One of the easiest ways is actually just the search feature. If we think about it, LinkedIn actually has 230 million plus members. 230 million, that's a lot of individuals that have actually self-identified. Right? I can use a search feature on the search feature on LinkedIn and find out everybody in my area who fits a certain parameter as far as job, job title, you know, company. There's a wealth of information there. But one of the places that I really like to use LinkedIn for business development is when I'm going to meet with clients. And referrals, you know, no matter what happens with technology, referrals are always a way to build business, right? That personal relationship, the trust that we extend to somebody who's been recommended to us is huge. So one of the great ways of using LinkedIn is to actually do some research before you meet with someone, to go through their contacts and maybe identify 2, 3, 5 people that you'd really like to meet. And at the end of the meeting, you can simply ask for a recommendation. I suggest something like this. Hey, it was really great sitting down with you today. As you know, I build my business mostly by referral, and I only like to be referred to people who I can really help. And I was looking at your LinkedIn profile, and I noticed that you are connected with Bill Smith over at company XYZ. And I know that Bill's in a position where I might be able to help him. Do you think you'd feel comfortable giving me a referral to him, or maybe just giving him a quick email? There's actually a way through the LinkedIn system that they can facilitate that introduction, which is great. A lot of us aren't as comfortable with using the LinkedIn system yet, though. So you can simply ask, just like you would in the old days, hey, can you pick up the phone, give a call? You know, is it okay if I use your name, if I reached out to him? Again, go back to the same tools, the same systems you'd use way before social selling and social media, and use the information you're receiving to ask very pointed questions so that you're not just fumbling around. I mean, one of the things that I've always found to be completely not successful in my sales career was, hey, if you know anybody else who can help me out, I'd love a recommendation, right? We know we're not going to get any recommendations from that person. But the ability to say, hey, I can help Bill, would you mind giving him a quick call? Or, I saw that you're connected with Sue, and I think there's a great place for us to do some business together. It's a really easy way for somebody to go, yeah, absolutely, more than happy to. And they can pick up the phone, send that email. It's really comfortable.